All right, so here we go. So yeah, so this will be, the other one's on YouTube also, right? The first part? Like only did like 15 minutes or something.
It's not on YouTube.
Isn't it?
No.
Ooh, I'll have to check on that.
I'm subscribed to you. I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you're right. You know, I noticed something funny this morning when I came in, like there was an old thing that I hadn't done something with. I bet I forgot to ship it. Yeah, so I'll try to ship it. Yeah, let me write myself a note because I'll forget. Write myself a note right now. So, yeah. Practice exam. 1 to YouTube. All right, well, let's do this. We'll go, well, my plan was about 40 minutes on this, so, finish the majority of it. So, looking here at number 8, plurality with elimination method satisfies. Okay, that's going to be, again, that handout. Remember that handout? Well, yeah, the chapter 1 handout. The third page, you get a 3x5 card for the exam Thursday. And for sure, you want to put everything in this box thing that's on page 3 of the handout, right? And on there, it should probably answer this question. Plurality with elimination. Where is it? Plurality with elimination. So I'm looking at the third box. Weaknesses. Violates monotonicity and condorcet. You see it on there? Right? So plurality with elimination from that handout. Everybody got this handout, right? It says it violates, because you don't need to memorize these, violates monotonicity and condorcet. So it's not B, because it's saying satisfies. That's the opposite of violates, right? So if it violates monotonicity and condorcet, yeah, A and B are out. So it's got to be, and it can't be D because D says it satisfies all 3. So it's got to be majority. It's got to be it satisfies the majority criterion. Does that make sense? Is that good? Just have that on your, there'll be 3 or at least 3 questions that'll be answered just by that box on your 3x5 card. Next one, plurality with elimination violates, I don't know, what does it violate? Plurality with elimination violates monotonicity and condorcet. Yeah, there it is. Monotonicity. Not condorcet. So, and not none of them. And I don't know about majority, but...
It just says plurality, not plurality with elimination, so it was...
Oh, wait, I just did the wrong one. It's not plurality with elimination, it's plurality, huh? Yeah, I better read it more careful. Plurality violates condorcet. Condorcet. Yeah, so it's just condorcet, huh? Thanks. Read careful. I was trying to show you. That's right. All right, number 10. In the weighted voting system, 9, 11, 4, 2. What do you think about, here's player 1, right? That's player 1. This is P1. This is the quotient out here, as you know. What do you think about player 1?
Dictator.
Dictator. He's got enough votes to get it done himself, huh? So that's clearly dictator. Number 11. In the weighted voting system, okay, so again, here's the 12 is the, what's it called, quota. And then 11, 5, 5. So nobody's really a dictator, are they? Nobody has 12 votes. Nobody in this one. So no player has veto. Now, does anybody have, okay, player 1, dictator, no way. Player 1's a veto power. What does veto power mean? Again, remember veto power? Veto power means you say no, it stops, right? So if 11 says no, I don't like to pass the whatever it is they're trying to pass. If 11, player 1, player 1, the 11, says no, can the other 2 get it done without it? They have 5 and 5, they have 10 votes? No, they can't get it done. So player 1 can't block anything, huh? By saying no. Now he can't pass anything. He doesn't have enough to pass all by himself. He needs somebody else to join him to make 12 votes, right? So he's not a dictator, but he does have veto power like the president, right? So yeah, so it is C, isn't it? He has veto power, but he's not a dictator. Does that make sense? So far, so good. You stop me if you want to talk more about it. Otherwise, I'll... Dictator can pass anything all by himself. Veto power can just block anything, but not pass anything. It's a good question. Everybody see that difference? So dictator can pass anything by himself. Player 1's not a dictator. He can't pass anything by himself. But he does have veto power. He can block anything, just like the President of the United States. The President can't just decide, I want to pass this new law and just pass it. But he can block anything, right? Okay, so number 12. Weighted voting system. There's the quota, and then player 1, player 2, and player 3. There. What's it say? Player 1 has all the power. No, that can't be. Player 2 and 3 are dummies. No, player 1's the same as player 2, so it's not A, right? A lot of these are process of elimination, I think. Everybody good so far? It's not A. And can you read that? Should I make that bigger? Is that okay? So it says, well, you have it on your own handout, yeah. Player 1 has all the power. No, player 1's the same as player 2. So that can't be yet. B, player 1 and player 2 have equal power. P3 is a dummy. Maybe. Do you think, is P3 a dummy there?
Yeah.
How do you know somebody's a dummy?
Makes no difference.
They make no difference. They can never take it from failing to passing. They can never make the difference in the vote. Well, you tell me, we got 50, 50, 48, and it's 100 to pass anything. Can that 48, is there ever a situation where like one or two people like something and it's not going to make it, but then the 48 jumps in and it makes it? Like the 48 makes the difference, in other words. There never is, huh? Like if there's a 50 that wants something, then the 48 jumps in, that's only 98, that's not 100. He can't make it pass. You think, well, yeah, but if two 50s, they've already got enough. They don't need them. So the 48 never makes a difference. Yeah, 48's a dummy. So it is B, huh? P1, P2, equal power, P3 is a dummy. Number 13. And you have all those answers on your Scantron there, huh? I'm just showing you why. In the weighted voting system, the minimum percentage votes. Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about that. Let me help you with that. Minimum percentage, what do they mean? Well, what are the total number of votes? You got to add up all the votes that the different players have, these different players. So 24, 12, 8, 4, 2. Yeah, I don't know if we've done it. Maybe we did it once. I don't know. 36, what is it? 44, 40, 50? Is it 50? 50 total, yeah. Now, how do you do percentage to pass? Well, the quota is 30, right? The quota, it takes 30 to pass anything. So remember, percentage to pass, percentage always means part out of a whole. Like if I said, hey, 30% of this class will get an A in the end. That would be a certain number of people divided by the whole number of people, right? Part over whole. That's always what percentage means. So percent to pass something, that would be 30 out of the total, which is 50. Right, because it takes 30 right here. The quota is 30 to pass anything. There's 50 total votes that all the different players have. So divide that in your calculator, comes out 0.6. You guys will have your calculator, right, during the test. That'd be 0.6. No cell phones, right? But just a regular calculator. 0.6, and that's the same as 60% when you change it to decimal. So is that answer there? Yeah, that's B, huh? Good there. Stop me if you want to talk about it. Number 14, weighted voting system. Which is the smallest? Okay, that's that super hard question. Let me save this. That's what I would do if I was you too. I'm doing the same thing because I don't want to run out of time. That's super hard and takes a long time. So what I would do when you take this test day after tomorrow is just go through, do the ones that are easy. That's how you should always do math tests. Go through, do the ones that are easy, come back to the hard ones. You don't want to get stuck on something and waste a whole bunch of time. 14's hard. We'll come back to it. Let's go on. 15. The weighted voting system. No player has veto power. See, that's hard. I'm going to save both those. I'll come back if time allows. I'll come back to 14, 15. Those are super hard. How do you know? It's always when they say the largest or the smallest. That means you got to try several different numbers. That can be really tedious. Remember we did one or two of those in the homework? Let's come back to them. Let's move on. Okay, yeah. So here we go. So let's just, basically they're going to start saying, okay, in the weighted coalition, P2, P3, P4. Well, let me write the coalition here. It's 25, and then it's 22, 12, 6, and 3. So that's the quota. This is player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. So in the P2, P3, P4, that'd be these guys, right? So in the 12, 6, 3 coalition. That's what they're talking about. In that coalition, the weight of it, what's the weight of it? We just add them up, huh? 21? I just added those. Just add and add. 21, yeah, okay, C. Next, number 17. The winning coalitions are. Okay, so remember how you list, so I'm going to have to list all the winning coalitions, right? Remember how you list all winning? So you, here, let me go to fresh screen if that's okay. More room. So we got to list, what did I just do there? Something bad just happened. Okay, there we go. So for all winning coalitions, you have to start with all that have 4 players. So 4 players would be, all 4 of them. 22, 12, 6, and 3. And now let's list all the 3-player winning coalitions. Remember, The next group, you just leave one out, huh? You just go all the different ways to leave one out. So I could, like, leave out the 3, and that would be 22, 12, and 6. Next, I could leave out the 6. That'd be 22, 12, and 3. Next, I could leave out the 12. That would be 22, 6, and 3. And last, I could leave out the 22. That'd be 12, 6. I'm not sure those are all winners, but at least that's all the different groups of 3, right? Now, are they all winners? What does it take to win? It takes 25 to win, so that's not a winner. The other ones are all winners, aren't they? With me, this one doesn't add up to 25, does it? So that's not a winning group. Good so far. Now, how about all the 2-player winning groups? So I did all the 4-player, all the 3-player winning groups, now all the 2-player winning groups. What are all the 2-player? Well, you got to have 25, so it'd be the 22 with anybody, basically. 22 with 12, 22 with 6, 22 with 3, and that's really it, huh? Just 22 with anybody. Makes 25 or more, it's a winning group. So there it is, there's all the winning coalitions. Now, let's go through their options. Option A. All the coalitions with 3 or more players. Is that right? Are all the winning coalitions, are they all the coalitions with 3 or more players? No, there's some 2-player coalitions. No, it's not A. Process of elimination here. It's not A. Is it B? All coalitions with 2 or more players, one of which is player 1. Yeah, that's it, huh? In other words, it's all the ones that have 2 or more as long as they have player 1, the 22 guy. Right, yeah, it's all the ones, the 2 players with 22, it's all the 3 players with 22, and of course the 4-player with 22. Yeah, that's it. It's all the coalitions 2 or more that have player 1. Is that good?
I thought it's C because I put B and it marked it wrong and said C.
Oh, did my answer key off? Let's see. Did it mark it right on your guys's? 17 was it B? 17 was B, okay. Maybe it just, yeah, careful on Scantrons if you have a stray mark or something, it might think there's too many. Like if you change your answer and you erase one, erase completely. In any class when you're taking a Scantron test, the machines are super sensitive. That's why it's kind of a good idea to bubble kind of light the first time. That way you need to change an answer. You know, whenever you change, make sure you completely erase because it thinks there's 2 answers and it'll mark it wrong. Might happen. All right, number 18, number of winning coalitions. So how many winning coalitions are there? If you just count them, that's this 1 winning team, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winning teams. 7 winning teams, so it's B on that one. That good. Now, I'm going to want to use this, but what does 19 say? The winners in the well, I guess I got it. So number 19. Which players in the coalition are critical? So, player 1, player 2, what's that? That's the 22, the player 1, player 2 are the 22-12. So in the 22-12, remember it takes 25 to win anything. Which players are critical there? Remember what critical means. Let me write it again for you. Critical means you quit the team, they lose. Right? So it means to be critical. If you quit, they got to have you. If you quit, the team loses. So if the 22 quits, will that team lose? Yeah. They'll only have 12 votes. It takes 25 in this system. So is 12 also critical? Yeah, we remember in 2-player teams, they're always both critical, aren't they? So they're both critical. P1 and P2, both are critical. How about in number 20? P1, P3, P4. Now, which ones are those? P1, P3, P4. So 22, 6, 3. So 22, 6, 3. Who's critical there? Remember, it takes 25 to win in this. That was the quota. So if the 22 drops out, the 6 and the 3 certainly lose. He's critical. If the 6 drops out, what if the 6 drops out? 22 and 3 still have enough, huh? They don't lose. So 6 isn't critical. They don't have to have 6. He could drop out. They're still okay. And, of course, therefore, the 3 is not critical either. Once you get not critical, anybody below that is also not critical. So only the 22, only player 1, A, P1 only. Good? Moving on, 21, bonds off power. Now, we got to do the whole power thing. So let's go back and let's circle. Well, I kind of messed it all up, huh? So maybe I better rewrite it. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Well, I'm gonna box them. I gotta, with a different color, because I don't really want to take time to rewrite the whole thing. So which ones are critical? Remember what critical means again? You quit. Write it again. Critical. You, oops, yeah. You quit, they lose. You quit, they lose. Okay, so let's start with the 4-player. If 22 quits this team, I'm just looking at the winning ones now. 22 quits, do 12, 6, and 3 lose? I think so, because that's only 21 votes, right? 12, 6, and 3? That's only 18, 21, yeah. So 22 is critical here. If he quits, the 12, 6, and 3 don't have 25. Remember, it takes 25 to win. 25 to win. So 22 is critical. If he drops out, they lose. How about the 12? Is he critical? If he drops out, do they lose? No, they got plenty of votes. They got 22 and a bunch more. They got more than 25 votes. So 12's not critical, so nobody below him is critical in that team either. Only the 22 is critical on that team. Good so far? Let's go to the 3-player teams. If 22 quits, this team loses. So he's critical. What if the 12 quits? No, they still got 22 and 6. That's more than 25. 12's not critical, so therefore 6 couldn't be either. 22 is critical here. I think 22 is always critical. If 12 quits, do they lose? No, 22 and 3 is just enough, 25. So 12's not critical, therefore 3's not either. 22 is certainly critical here. What if 6 quits? No, they still got 25. So 6 and 3 are not critical. So this one's out, right? Now let's go over to the 2-player teams. You guys know they're both critical, huh? If anybody quits, they're going below 25. All right, so how many times did I box critical players? How many moments of criticalness were there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 moments of criticalness. And out of those, 7 of them were the 22, huh? And then one for the 2, 1 for the 6, and 1 for the 3. 7 of them for the 22. So that means that the 22 has got 7/10, and everybody else has got 1/10, 1/10, 1/10 of the power for the Bond-Soft power. 70%. So use your calculator. You know that's 70%, and the other ones are 10%, 10%, 10%. Right? Is that good on that? Everybody good with how we did the Bond-Soft power? The critical. Come see me if that's confusing. Be glad to work with you in my office about that. So it's A then, isn't it? 70, 10, 10, 10. On to 22 we go. Committee consists of 6 members, has veto power. Oh, A has, better read it. A has, here, let me roll that up. Okay, so A has veto power. B, C, D, and E each have 1 vote. F is non-voting. For a motion to pass, it must have support of A plus at least two additional members. Okay, so it's one of these, word ones. So let's see what's going on. Which of the following is not a winning coalition? So you got to have A plus 2 additional voting members. Who's not a voting member? Oh, F is not. So forget about F. Just pretend F's not even there. F's just not a voting member. Okay. So to pass anything in this system, you got to have A and 2 more. A and 2 more. So which is not? Watch out for the little knots. Not winning. This has A and 2 more. 3 more. So that's a winner. A and 2 more. That's good. A and 2 more. D is not a winner, is it? Because you got to have A and 2 more. And there's no A in that option D there. Good. Number 23. Which are critical in the ABD team? ABD. Who's critical? Let's go through. Remember what critical means? Critical means you quit. You quit, they lose. So if A quits this team, does the team lose? Yeah, they got to have A and 2 others. So if A quits, they don't have A. He's critical. What if B quits? Do they lose? Yeah, because they got to have A and 2 others, and they'd only have A and D in that case. And same reason D's critical. They're all critical, aren't they, in that team? Because you got to have A and 2 others. So they're all critical. So A, B, and D are all critical. Number 24. Now 24 is kind of a trick question. 24 says in the weighted system, which of these numbers is the same? Well, the trick is you got to have A and two others to pass anything, right? So let's go process of elimination. On A, you'd have 3 and 2 others. That would only be 5 votes. Now, they're trying to turn the words into a number scenario. And they're trying to say which of these number scenarios is going to really be the same effect as all those words. Well, what we want to remember is the words said you need A and 2 others. So could it be option A here? No, because that's if you only have the first guy's A, and then 2 others, that'd only be 5, and they're saying 6. That's not right. That's supposed to be enough. A and 2 others is supposed to be enough. So it's not A. B looks good. A and 2 others is just enough. B looks good. Let's keep looking though. This one's a little tricky. How about C? A and 1 other would be enough on C. That's not right. You're not supposed to be able to pass things with just A and 1 other. So it's not C for sure. How about D? D is A and 2 others. Well, that looks good also. It's B or D. Both B and D at first glance seem to work, don't they? They both seem to fit the scenario that you need the first guy and 2 others. So the first guy, the 2, and 2 others. Right? 2, 3, 4. That makes 4. So system D works, and so does system B. Because you got the 3 and 2 others. 3, 4, 5, and that's 5 for system B. So one of those is actually wrong for a different reasons. Anybody see it?
Yeah.
What is it?
I remember the A has to be.
Oh, you were the one that came up? Yeah.
A has to be critical, so in scenario D, other ones could get it along without A. So
Good, you understood what I was saying. Good job, exactly. Yeah, there's a real trick here. Yeah, they all fit the beginning, I mean, B and D both fit the beginning condition, but D has another problem. Look at D. Those 4 ones right there could get it passed even without A. They could make 4 votes, just the 4 ones could. Why is that? Is that a problem? Yeah, remember you're supposed to have A and 2 others. They could pass it without A. See that? So D is not the right answer. That's pretty tricky. So D is not the right answer. So it's B on that one for that little trick there. Does that make sense on that? That good? Okay, let's keep moving if you're okay. Slow me down if you want to talk. Let's see if we can figure out the Bonshoff power. So that part's over. Let me go back up here. So Bonshoff power. So for Bonshoff power, we're going to have to list all the winning combinations. It sounds a little painful. All right, so what are all the winning combinations? Really? Do we have to do the whole thing here? I'm just afraid this could be tedious. All right, I'm trying to get out of it, but there's no way. Forget about F. Don't put F in anything, right? F's not a voting member. So I'm just going to pretend the whole didn't even have an F, because F's doing nothing. So just take A, B, C, D, E. So I'm doing all winners. I'm going to start with all winners. You know how we do the Bonshoff? We have to list out all the winners. All the winners. So A, B, C, D, E. That's the 5-player. And now I'm going to list all the 4-player winning teams. How do you do that? Well, you can drop off anybody but A. Remember, you can't drop off A because you won't be a winning team anymore. So you could drop off the E. So I'll just go one at a time. Drop off the E. You got A, B, C, D. You can drop off the D. You've got A, B, C, E. You could drop off the C. You got A, B, D, E. You could drop off the B. You got A, C, D, E. So those are all the 4-player winning teams. Good so far. Now, how about all the 3-player winning teams? Well, that's basically A with any other 2 players. Well, how do I do any other 2 players? Well, you do a system. Remember how that works? So I want to start at B and I want to go B, C, B, D, B, E. They're all going to start with A. Right? So far so good. So I'm starting with A. That's a no-brainer. You're always starting with A. You got to have A to be a winner. So, and then what are you going to finish with? B, C, B, D, B, E, and now start with C. C, D, C, E, and now you're done with C. Now start with D, D, E. That's all of them. See how I had a system there? I knew they all started with A, so that's automatic. Then you just, after that comes B, and you just start with B and go down the line. B, C, B, D, B, E. And we're not doing F, we're going to F, not a winning number. Then start at C. Just go to the end. C, D, C, E. That's all the B's, all the C's, now the D's, D, E. So that's all the 3-player winning teams. There's no 2-player winning teams, right? Because you got to have A and 2 others. So there's no 2-player winning teams. So that's it. That's all the winning teams. Now now we got to go back and circle, underline, whatever, whoever's critical in each of those situations. Well, basically, let me just circle A everywhere right now. A is critical on every team, right? Because if A drops out, you got to have A and at least 2 others. So you have to have A. A is always critical in every situation. Got to have A. Now, on the 3-player, let me circle them all. Right? You remember how the lowest level is always because they're all critical. You've got to have A and 2 others. So if any one of these 2 others drops off, you don't have A and 2 others. So those are all critical, aren't they? How about on the 4-player team? If one of these B's, C's, or D's drops out, do they lose then? Are they critical? No, because if one of them drops out, you still have A and 2 others. You're still good, huh? So nobody else is critical on the 3-player teams except for A. If A drops out, yeah, they lose because they got to have A and 2 others. But if one of the others drops off, they still got A and 2 others. So nobody else is critical. And you just do them one at a time. And you might say, well, yeah, but a couple of them drop out. Well, yeah, we're not talking about a couple. Being critical means you alone. You alone, like my kid's little baseball team. Anthony alone didn't show up, we lost. It just means you alone. If he alone drops out, they don't lose. They're okay. Right? It's just one at a time. If they drop off, does the team lose? No, there's only A is critical on those. And same thing for the 5-player. Only A is critical. If anybody else drops off, they're still a winner. So there we go. How many times did we circle things? Is that so? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Looks like 23 times. If I'm doing that right. How many of those were A? A lot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 out of 23. And everybody else was just, I don't know what, like B is, 3 times? Everybody else is 3, I think. Aren't they? Does that add up? It's good to double check. Do these all add up to be 23 23rds?
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, it's back. It's tricky. It's back here. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, they all got to be the same, huh? B, C, and D, and E, they all play the same role, don't they? So we know they've got to come out the same. See how I double checked I didn't make any mistakes? If you have this at 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 11, it makes 23. 23, 23. I didn't miss any. It's all there. So there's the power. And I don't know if they want percentages or fractions or what.
Mr. Moore,
Yeah.
what number was this?
This was, it's number 25. It's the very next one. It's just all based on this stuff, so I did it back here. Yeah, it's 25. It asks for the power from that whole word scenario. Bonshoff power. Is that good on that? Okay, that's probably one of the hardest. Are we getting close? How many of these are there? 32, okay. Consider the generic weighted voting system. Suppose that the winning coalitions are, blah, blah, blah. Which players are critical in the grand coalition? So, in the coalition P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, who's critical? Again, we've gone to this critical thing a million times. Make sure you're really crystal clear on critical. What does critical mean? You quit, they lose. You quit, they lose. Okay. So let's see. If P1 drops off of that team, it's a winning team. If P1 drops off, do they lose? How do you know?
The smallest, I just went with the smallest winning coalition that has P1, P2, P3, which means all of them have to be there. They're in all the other coalitions. So.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, when you're coming up here, see what it's saying? It's saying the winning coalitions are. That means these right here are the only winning coalitions. Those are the only teams that win. So if P1 drops off, you've got the team P2, P3, P4, P5 left. So look up there. Is that listed as one of the winning teams? Is the team P2 through P5, is that this one? No. Is it that one? No. Is it that one? No. Is it that one? No. Then it's not a winner. Because they're saying these are the winners. Does that make sense? So if somebody drops off, whatever you have left, go check if that's a winning team or not. So P1 then is critical. Because if he drops off, they become a losing team. They're not listed among the winners. P2, P3, P4, P5 is not a winner up there. All right, how about P2? What if just P2? It's one at a time, right? Critical is always one at a time. What if just P2 drops off? Is P1, P3, P4, P5, the team left, if P2 drops off, is this a winning team? Is it listed up there? 1, 3, 4, 5? No, it doesn't look like it. So he's critical also. He better not drop off because the team left is not a winner either. 1, 3, 4, 5 is not listed up there. How about if P3 drops off? Then they would have P1, P2, P4, P5. Remember, critical is just one drops off at a time. So if just P3 drops off, is 1, 2, 4, 5 a winner? No, I don't see it up there. So P3 is critical. How about if P4 drops off? Then it's one. The team left behind is 1, 2, 3, 5. Are they a winner? Are they? Oh yeah, they're right here, huh? Right there, 1, 2, 3, 5. That's a winning team. So P4 is not critical. He's not, right? Because he could drop off and the team left behind still is a winner. So that means P4 is not, they don't have to have P4. He could drop off, they're still going to win. He's not critical to their victory, right? That makes sense? And how about finally P5? If P5 drops off, then you would just have P1 through P4 left behind. Is that a winning team? Yeah, there it is. It's still a winner. So P5 is not critical. He drops off, they don't lose. They're still going to win without him. So they don't have to have him. He's not critical. See how I determined that? The only critical ones then are P1, P2, and P3. So it's option A. That good so far? So the real thing will be real similar on Thursday. So feel free to speak up if you have questions. Okay, so if I'm on your handout, I'm not going to write it all out, but it says blah, well, look, a lot of words. I'm not going to read all those words. Blah, I'm just going to look for a key phrase here. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody, one of the voters changes his mind and moves A. A moves from third to second. Oh, what just happened? Come on. What's this thing doing? I hit something bad and now it's flipping out. I have trouble with technology. I turn it off. All right, where was I? I was there. A moves third to second. Right? A moves from third to second. And which one of those? Look at your chart. You know, it's got all those kind of things on number 27. It's got all. Which one talks about somebody moving? Do you see monotonicity? Talks about voters changing their mind. That's the voters change their mind in a re-election and blah 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 blah. That's monotonicity. Tonicity. So you want to write down these on your 3x5 card. That's the monotonicity one. So on 27, that's a D. Is that what the answer was? D?
Yeah.
Good. So 27 should be D. Again, I'm just going off the handout, and it talked about voters changing their mind. Number 28 says, candidate D has more than 50% of the possible vote. What does that mean to have, it says D has more than 50%. What's it called when you have more than 50%? Majority. That's more than half, huh? That means D got a majority, right? It says, but A won the election. So A won the election even though D had a majority. That's what they're saying. You getting the gist of that from 28? A lot of words, but they're saying A won the election, however, D had more than 50%. D had more than half, not a majority. So what? well, that means, what's that called? That's going to be a violation of the majority criterion. Right? Do you see that? Violation of majority criterion. Meaning criterions are our sense of fairness. Remember? This doesn't seem fair, right? What if you were candidate D and more than half of the people voted for you as their top choice and somehow somebody else won the election? Wouldn't you feel like, that's not fair? More than half of the group put me as their first choice and you're telling me somebody else won? That must be an unfair system you're using. You'd feel that way. And that's what we're saying. If somebody else has a majority and a different person wins, that's a violation of the majority criterion. And then if you look down in 28, oh yeah, there it is, just C. Huh? I thought we'd need to do another tricky step. Let's just see. That is the answer, right? C? Violation of the majority criterion. On to the back, number 29. Election is held, da-da-da. Okay, so it's another one of these, off the chart thing. It says D beats. However, candidate D beats each other candidate, beats all head-to-head. What does that mean when you beat everybody head-to-head? Do you remember that? That's,
Pairwise.
well, that's the method. It's tricky. That's the method, that we do all the one-to-ones. It's pairs. But I mean, like, which are the criterion? So there's two things. There's a method where you do head-to-head, right on, it's pairwise. But there's also a sense of fairness. And that's, how do we know we're doing sense of fairness here? Well, if you look at the answers, they're all criterion. See how they're all criterion? All the answers? So, yeah, so don't think about methods, pairwise, that is the right method, but think criterion. Look at those 4 criterion. You want to put those again in your 3x5 card. Which of those talks about beating everybody 1-to-1? Condorcet. It's Condorcet. So it's a violation of Condorcet. The answer must be C. Was it C? It's good on that. So just look at those options. It's criterion. But you're right on. It is the pairwise method that does that. Number 30. Elections held. A gets majority. B wins. Okay. So A gets majority. But B wins. Okay, that's a violation of the majority criterion yet again, isn't it? But they're not going to ask it that way. This is the one that's more tricky where we need another step. So that's a violation of the majority criterion, right? Because somebody else got a majority but didn't win. And then they notice which the answers are a bunch of methods. Like it's not criterion. They're not saying which criterion. That'd be easy. We'd go majority criterion. But they're asking methods now. Well, that means you just need that chart, huh? You just need to take that chart and match it up. We already know it violates majority. So look over here on the right side. Which methods violate majority? Board account does. See how board account has violates majority over here on the right? So the board account method violates majority, and that's option B, board account. That was the answer on it, right? Everybody see how I matched that up? 31, election is held, blah, blah, blah. A gets a plurality. It just means more than anybody else, not necessarily majority. First place votes, but C wins. Which of the following could have been used? So on 31, all they're saying, they're not saying much. They're just saying A gets plurality. That's not a majority. Plurality just means more than others. Not more than 50%. It's not majority. It's just a plurality. It just means, you got more. Like our elections, presidential elections have gone the last few years, right? One candidate gets 48%, the other gets 47%. So the 48 person wins. But nobody got more than 50. They still got a plurality, right? Okay, so what? Which of the following could have been used? Well, really, any of them. Right? A gets a plurality, but C wins. But C wins. A gets a plurality, but C wins. That's not a violation of anything. That's not one of our violations. We don't have anything that says, hey, if somebody's a plurality, all we have is the majority. Because that's not a violation of anything. That could have been any of them. The answer was D. Tell me I'm right. Is that right? Yeah, all of them. Does that make sense? They're making sure that you understand the difference between majority and plus. It's not a big deal to just be a plurality and not win. Right? That just means you got more 48. I mean, I guess we would kind of think maybe they should be fair, but really, Not necessarily, because if somebody got 48% and somebody else got 47 of the first place, and maybe everybody else liked them best in second place, so it's worth it. It's not necessarily unfair. So that could have been any method that does that. That's not one of our violations. That makes sense, not a violation of majority. Finally, number 32, which fairness criterion is violated in this election using the board account method if candidate B drops out and a re-election is held? Well, first off, which one even, I don't want to do a bunch of work. On 32, they're talking about somebody dropping out. B drops out. So which fairness, and they have a bunch of criterions on there. So read the fairness criterion and you tell me which one talks about somebody dropping out. Which one, is it independence? Yeah, oh, they say removed. Yeah, they use a different word. Yeah, it's the independence, the bottom one, the fourth one. Independence of irrelevant alternatives. See, it says one or more of the candidates are removed. And down there in the beginning of the third line, they say removed instead of dropped out, but same thing. Somebody's removed. Yeah, that's the only one that has somebody dropping out. Right? So it's got to be the independence of irrelevant. It's the independence one. I don't even need to read a bunch more. It's D. Right? Answer's D? So a lot of the answers come off this thing, huh? The box and writing the 4 criterion down. That third page of the handout I gave you. Make sure you have that in your 3x5 card. Any other questions on the practice exam? Like I said, the real exam will be all